Okay, hello, I guess. This is just a quick tour of a boxing / garage gym that's been in the process of being set up of what I want to say at least 4 or 5 years. Complete weekend jobs, work in progress, nothing too extreme, just a bit of flooring. Just go through it. More so I just wanted to show off a particular piece of equipment that I cannot find anywhere on YouTube as a bit of a walk around, or what it looks like or how it behaves when you start punching it. Yeah, so effectively this is the space. It's about, I want to say 2.5 by 5 or 6 meters. Used to be just a storage shed, pretty dusty. Initially tried to control said just with a bit of concrete paint. Didn't do the job, to be honest, no matter how many coats of paint I put down. Ended up doing this flooring from Flex Spec. I don't know if you can see that, the grey tiling there. And just on the floor here is an old mat I found on Facebook Marketplace. I think the brand Mirror Mat. From memory, they aren't too expensive, just a oversized yoga mat, to be honest. It's a piece of equipment, so yep, got a standing bag, a water bag, a Morgan Heavy, just something I found on eBay. Thought I could do some reverse pull-ups or whatnot, but yeah, still have to work on that. And 2 speed bags, so I'll go over to that one first because that's the one that no one ever has on. Can't find a review for it anyway. I'm a huge fan of Jim Bradley. They're an Australian company based in Melbourne, I want to say. They do a lot of boxing related gear, gloves, bags, standing poles, similar to the blue ones I've got here for the heavy bags and whatnot. However, they do something really well. They also do speed bags. This is a Pro Ball. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, probably good. And over there on that one is just a standard. I don't know what the difference is between them besides potentially this one being a little bit smaller, 25 centimeters from memory. Can't remember what that one is off the top of my head. So this is the reason why I've got 2. I'll go on that very briefly, but this particular one here, it's still on their site from memory. However, it is the best thing about this, I'll pan down and up, is it's portable. So in effect, if I wanted to move houses or go somewhere else, I could just literally take it apart and rebuild it somewhere else. It's very space saving, so don't mind the weights. They're just there to basically give it a bit of stability. There's a bunch of handles here, and you can lift the whole unit up, and there's some casters on the rear of it so you can move it if necessary. The ball itself, this here is just a bit of MDF, but I just noticed it's extremely well made, I guess. It is MDF, but you get what you buy for, I guess. But the fact that it's finished with this kind of laminate and a plastic on the side, the finishing on it's just superb. So there's nothing more to be said about that. They are hand built in Melbourne. I queried the company because I was getting a bit late on shipping, but they said no, we're in the process of building it and powder coating it now. And shortly after that message came through, it was here within the week. Extremely good customer service. Yeah, they've been in the business, from what I can tell, for a very long time. Always been a fan of their product. Yeah, can't say much more than this, but if you're on the fence about a really good speed bag platform, but you don't have a method or means to build one yourself or attach a tool, this is just a color bond shed, so I was never going to be able to attach a speed bag harness or frame to the side of it, but just for clarity. Does make that bouncing sound at the bottom. I think that's just more to do with I need to put some more stuff underneath the frame to deaden out the jumpiness of the bag. So it's just resonance, but it's not particularly loud. And again, easy to move. Put some weights on the ground just to counterbalance it. It does actually work a little bit. Of note is this little speed bag swivel. These are always standard with Jim Bradley speed back units. They usually come as a pair unless you just buy the ball on its own. For what it is, it's phenomenal. I've used a few now. The other one being an Everlast Pro swivel I got from Rebel Sport here in Australia. It's good, it's okay, I didn't mind it, but I definitely prefer the plastic on Jim Bradley's unit. Just very soft. When I say soft, it returns very softly, so it doesn't feel like you're fighting the ball when you're working out and just working through the rounds. One thing I learnt the hard way is not to over tighten this nut. If you do that, it kind of gets a bit stiff and doesn't return quite as smoothly. But if you do buy one of these units, I think you can just get away with just this here. You can buy it on its own. I can't remember the price off the top of my head. It's not particularly expensive, but definitely overall very happy. I also recommend when you go to pump these things up, buying one of these little units. It's a electronic bike pump. You can set the PSI, so most of these bags are recommended to be about 5 or 6 PSI. You set your PSI limit and then you simply press and it will fill it up to that particular, sorry for that sound, that particular limit, and away you go. Morgan heavy bag. To be honest, it's a good bag. It's easy to clean. It's just a canvas wrapping. I suspect it's a bunch of old clothes, socks, foam and whatnot inside the bag itself, but very solid, very good. Feels good. To be fair, I would like a leather bag, but again, for what it is, can't fault it at all. Picked up this Fairtax water bag a while ago. If I had my time again, I probably wouldn't get this. It was a massive headache to fill up with water. I won't go there, but the particular attachment that was provided with it wasn't very good, and it took a bit of effort to, 1, fill it up, and 2, hoist it up. It's extremely dense, much heavier than this, and yeah, attached to both, I've just used just something I saw on YouTube. Instead of chains, it's just a length of marine rope wrapped in duct tape. That allows for a little bit of deadening of the sound as it attaches to 2 metal points. Not that it's ever happened to me, but you never know. Metal shears over time, so just in case hitting it a bit too hard one day, not that that really happens with me, but you never know, comes off and potentially injury, but is what it is, it works well. And the same for the heavy bag up here. I don't know if you can see that, I'm not really looking too carefully, but that's a Meister heavy bag spring. This is the unit, so the lug up here and the spring itself. And again, just use some marine rope to attach it to the bag itself, just to give it a bit more dampening, I guess the word is. This blue frame was made by a friend of mine, really solid. I think it was about 5 years ago he made it for me. Just a very good price. I don't think he does it anymore, but more's a shame because he does really good metalwork. Again, neither of us knew kind of what we were doing, but if I had my way again, it would be a little bit higher and not so long, because it does vibrate a bit when you start hitting the bags. But primarily, yeah, it's just me in the gym. Used to have mates to come around and do this with me, but they've all kind of gone on with their lives and moved away, but that's all right. The reason for getting that thing over there from Jim Bradley, again, highly recommend it. Don't really have much more to say then. Oh yeah, besides it was very easy to set up on your own. There's pretty much no instructions to it, but just a bit of common sense, and I think just a shifting spanner and 2 shifting spanners, not shifting spanners, adjusting wrenches, whatever they're called, you know, these things. You can show it at work in a garage. Just that, 2 of them. Come back over here. I picked up this. I don't know if let's just elevate that a little bit. So this just came with that unit over there. I already had a ball previously, so this whole portable unit plus this ball came together. This is just one of the regular balls. I used to have a board here, but it was way too thin, so it didn't bounce, didn't feel very good. It was very dead, so the return would be very, even just doing that, it felt like you were putting more energy into the unit than you were getting back from it. Just not a really good feeling. So I tried to MacGyver something together. I'm not particularly satisfied with it. So these pieces of wood here you get from, we have a place called Bunnings in Australia. These are just cafe tabletops. I just bought 2 of them. glued together, a bunch of screws through them. Knowing what I know now, I would have got at least 4 of them. So the more thickness there, the better, I think, 1, the sound, and 2, the bounce. They're not expensive. I think I paid maybe $10 each for them. I'd have to check that, but they're not expensive at all. Overall, very cheap. But what I did get was this thing called a Thrasher House Speedbag unit. Unlike the Jim Bradley one that just returns backwards and forwards, this obviously goes side to side, 360 motion, effectively making you think about your control a little bit better. It's a lot of fun. Had a first go of it today, quite poorly, I might add. I won't lie. Everything's a work in progress, but definitely I'm not quite at the point where I can do the full round the world motion with it yet, but that's something to work towards. Yeah, but all I'll say is very simple setup, very cheap. I want to do as cheap as possible, so kind of blew my budget on that particular setup over there. But just having 2 units to work, particularly having a different feel as well, was kind of the aim where I was wanting to go with that. Yeah, very satisfied with the purchase. The actual unit itself wasn't too expensive, but it was a little bit more expensive than the usual. I'd have to look it up, but again, worth it. That's just the plastic version. He uses some kind of resin or injection. I'm not sure what he does. He's based in the States, but it appears that him and Jim Bradley have hooked up. He sells their speed bags stateside. Highly recommend these bags. They're extremely well built, good quality. Like, just fortunate in Australia that we have kind of a company like that here that does do good supply and at a relatively good price. Just bolted in, screwed in, just some wood screws that come with the unit. He advises just a couple of small pilot holes and hand tighten with a screwdriver, and away you go, and those instructions seem to be relatively accurate. Yeah, I'll probably report back a little bit later on as to a long-term review of them. But yeah, highly recommend it. And again, if you do something DIY like that, I recommend getting more thickness, and that's just a 20 kilo slam ball that I gave up using because it's just a bit too heavy for me to utilize it every workout, but works great as a dampening weight up there on the top of the platform. Yep, got that years ago. Echo in Australia had a really good system where the bike itself's about $1,000, but the postage was free. So I live regionally in Australia, so it usually costs a fortune to send anything. Excuse the mess, it's still not completely finished yet, but yeah, got this. And I used to do a lot of skipping before during boxing rounds, but just as you get older, your legs and knees feel a bit tired, so it's just as easy enough to get a full body movement on this thing here. Excuse the yard, needs a mow. Last thing is just the gloves I've collected over the years. I used to buy, what are they called? It will come to me later, I'll probably have to write these down, but Windy, Thai brand, predominantly for Muay Thai and kickboxing. They were quite inexpensive. I want to say $150 from memory, 16 ounces. But yeah, definitely kickboxing glove, more so for guarding, a bit more padding on the wrist there, not as much wrist support. The Clayto Rias. I used to live in Japan, so I've always wanted a pair of winning boxing gloves, but as most people well know, they're extremely expensive, up around $800,000-$900,000 in Australia, and I don't have that kind of money for a pair of gloves. So I went ahead and bought some Claytos, having obviously, who doesn't love a Mexican boxer, and they all seem to gravitate towards this. I think Manny Pacquiao is a fan as well. In essence, just something to hit the bag with. Again, 16 ounces. The only disappointing thing about these gloves is that over the years, these are the same, roughly as, I think I got these a year prior. So these are the older ones, the Windies. But I had them in storage for a little bit, just as while I was setting up the garage, and all the leather has flaked off here on the what you call them, on the threads on the outside. I don't know, potentially it's very humid here, so during the summer months and water, maybe some mold or something got into them, but they are flaking. Bit of an annoyance now, just using them on heavy bag. You get a bit of dust in the eyes from where it's coming off, but I'll probably end up just scraping it off. But the actual padding in the glove's still phenomenal, so we'll continue to use them on the heavy bag. But yeah, 16 there, 16 there. Picked these up the other day from, again, Jim Bradley. They're on sale. From memory, they were over $200, I want to say, on the website, and then I saw them go on sale for about, I want to say $100 bucks, and then they had a further discount for their, some sale was going on maybe in end of financial year or whatnot, but I think I picked these up for around $70 or $80. I thought, who doesn't like a pair of gloves, particularly the leather variety. They are laced, and again, I'm a single operator, so it is what it is. I bought these lace and loops. Don't ask me why, that's just why I searched for the internet, and that's what was available at a reasonable price. I'm aware there are a variety of different brands now, but there are probably cheaper ones, but for what they are, they're great. So effectively, you're able to lace up your gloves single-handed just by pulling the lace and loop around. Like that. Cinch is pretty tight, and it does feel very, very comfortable on the hand. You don't feel like it's loose or going to come off. These are 12 ounces. I think that was the maximum weight I could buy in this particular model of glove. From what I understand, they're more for fighting. They actually are meant to be used in the ring, but that's not me. I just wanted a lighter glove to pretend I was faster with. But my hand's not particularly big, but these do feel very tight on the hand. The Windies are definitely the roomiest, and the Cleatos I thought used to be tight, but they're actually somewhere in the middle, so they're good. I used to wrap my hands, but just because I'm time poor these days, I just bought a pair of these from Rebel, still Everlast boxing gloves. They do the trick. Easy to wash too, they're not unraveling all over the place. And back when I used to have people come around and train, bunch of Fairtex I got, I think online somewhere, can't remember where, but yeah, more for the kickboxing crowd, but they do the trick. Very, very hard, very firm. I think in that container there I have a pair of old Sting boxing pads. Much looser, foam's a little bit lighter. I actually find them really good, so I wouldn't necessarily buy these just for the sake of having a more expensive set of mitts. But good thing I like about these is there's a very solid support at the base of your wrist, so you can take a little bit more force on the hands without regretting your life choices the following morning. That's pretty much it. Purpose for the gym, I grew up around Italians, and when I was very young, the best thing I used to have to kind of wail on was a duffel bag filled with a fishing trawler line. So very hard, not good on the hands, but fun. Like most people, you kind of pick it up as a kid, just stayed with it. Never been in the ring. I used to spar with people that did, and you would immediately figure out why and how deficient you were in the particular art. But this is fun for exercise, bit of movement. Definitely takes a bit of the stress away from your life if you had a rough week or whatnot. So, oh yeah, and the last thing I forgot to mention, this double end bag, again, Jim Bradley, really good. Had this for years. It's leather. I think I've actually looked after this because it's never had mold on it, never had any cracking. Yeah, it's good. Just attached up there by an O-ring. I did buy that as well from Jim Bradley, the hook there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's supposed to be screwed into the concrete. But again, I don't want to create any more obstacles on the floor. So I just put a bit of ply there, screwed into that, and just using some old kettlebells I found at a F45 going out of business, and does the trick, keeps it steady. Sorry if I bumped the camera there, but yeah, I think that's about everything. Just a bench over there. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Don't suspect there'll be questions because who's going to watch this, but yeah, thanks for listening.